Right, so there we have our particles. Okay, so now it's just about animation. So I've already got it set up. I think in the video I had it on the ground and then pulled up. That's just too much because what happens is if you do too much animation, you want to keep this pretty smooth. So what you want to do is you kind of want to rotate that just to see how it's going to pour. You see? Like that. So I'm going to go back, Control Z. I'm going to move this. If you move this, that is going to cause problems with your particles. Okay? So right now, moving this would be a problem. Okay? So you probably want to set that up before you do. And I had done that. I'm going to try it, see what happens. It might fly out if I go too fast, right? Right. So you have to keep it slow. So you want to kind of set this up. It's not a big deal. You can kind of go back and click on the nParticles, and they're going to go wherever you want them to go. So you can move those too, right? Okay. So we can move that back a little bit. So let me do that. So let's go ahead and click on that, and Control click on the particles, and I'm moving them back a little bit like that because it's a little too close. There we go. So is that going to cause a problem? Let's go ahead and see. Okay, it did. It did cause a problem. All right. So it even got some stuff stuck in there. Let me try it one more time. Close it. It didn't like that, did it? Okay, I played it again and it was fine, right? Okay, let's go back. Maybe it got stuck the first time. All right, so it's working now. Okay, so I didn't do anything. I think when you move things, it's trying to find the position. It remembers the position it was in before, and so it had a problem the first time, but the second time and third time, and now it's fine, right? So just be aware of that, okay, as we move forward, little things like that. And so a lot of times I don't save my work, but when I'm working by myself, I usually save. When I'm talking, I don't know why I don't remember to save. But you probably, whenever you do something, before you move something, before you, something simulates and everything's looking good, save your work. Go in there and save scene as, and it'll go a lot faster and smoother for you. All right, so let's go in here and rotate. I'm going to do an animation, so I'm going to do a rotational thing here. I'm going to play it a little bit, make sure everything's working okay. And I'm going to play it back. Make sure on frame 1. Do not scrub. If you scrub it, it'll mess things up. So do not do that. And if you do think you messed up or you scrubbed accidentally, just go play it a little bit, play it all the way through, stop it, and go back and click off, because you're going to get this warning, nucleus, and all that other stuff. Don't worry about that. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do set a keyframe for this. Set a keyframe, okay? And I've got it already up, so I don't have to worry about it. The liquid jostling all over the place. So I'm going to go in here to, let's just say 100. Give ourselves 100 frames so it will settle in the container. Okay. And you can give it longer than that if you want to. Let's take a look at how long it will take. There we go. I think that's pretty good. All right, let's take a look. So 100 frames, I'm going to look at that right there. Okay, it's settled. I would say like 150. So frame 150. Okay. Go back to the side view, and I'm just going to move that frame up. Okay. So at frame 100, I'm going to go to cut, and I'm going to go to 150, wherever that is. 150. And I'm going to go to paste, paste. Paste, paste. There we go. All right, so at 150, we're going to start our animation. So I'm going to give it a nice long time to pour. So let's say 150 frames to pour, okay? Because we know it took about 150 frames for it to settle down, okay? Right? Now, another thing, I think in the video, we want to, and I forgot about this, in the video, we want to set the initial state. So let me delete this a minute. Let's delete that. Now I know where I want to be there. I'm going to keep the first frame. Okay. So let's go ahead and play the simulation. Okay. Let it settle. It will stop it. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to click off, and I'm going to go to nParticles. Okay. I'm going to click on that in the outliner. I'm going to set the initial state. I forgot to do that. So field solvers, initial state, set for selected. There we go. So now we got it set up at frame, whatever, 204, where it's set up. And I'm going to go back to frame 1. Now we can play it. Now they're just going to set. Okay. So I guess I could start the animation right away if I wanted to. So go click on the picture. And let's go set it to, so we're not spending too much time waiting around. Set it to back at, let's just say 100. Okay. All right, so 100. We're going to start the animation. So I'm going to click on S key for setting it. I'm going to give it as much time as I can though. Let's say 250. Okay. All right. So I could go in here and type in 250. Okay. I'm going to click off somewhere and click back on here again. And I'm going to set a key. Okay. So this time, before I set a key, I'm going to go ahead and play that like this. Don't worry that the particles are not following or anything. There we go. Set a key for that. There we go. All right, and then you want to let it pour out, right? So that's going to be another 100 frames, so 350. Okay, so set it for 350. Okay, and hit the S key, so it just stays there, right? And at frame 350, right? We'll pull that back up again. Let's do another 100 frames, so it'd be 450. Okay, and that we'll pull that back up again like that. Just trying to be consistent through here. There we go. And so here's my animation. So that works. All right. So let's go back in here and let's click off so we can see everything. At least you can see everything. I've got materials on this already, so it works pretty good. All right. So now, here we go. Frame 100. Here we go. Nice and slow. And they're going to pour out now into the glass. And yes, we're going to spill the milk. Okay. As you can see, it probably needs a little more time. It's flipping up too fast, right? So we could go a little bit slower going back up, or could just let it pour all the way out if you wanted to. I think it would overfill the glass because I got so many in there. There we go. Just watch it a couple times. All right. Okay. All right, so basically that's it. I'm going to click off of here. And I could probably move that. So I'm going to click right here and just use this tool that goes right to the keyframe. I'm going to cut that. Cut. And I'm going to go to give it a lot more time. So I'm going to do 550. There we go. So I can slow it down a little bit. And hit enter and then keyframe that. There we go. So we can watch the animation again. All right. Even with my graphics card, look how slow it is. I don't think it's playing in real time. I'd have to check. There we go. Okay, it's filling up a little bit more, giving it a little more time. Oh, I didn't. I forgot to go back. It's going to overflow. Shoot. Let's go back here. Start. Click on that. And the rotational value should be back up again, which I didn't do for some reason. Here we go. Didn't have to be perfect, but that's good enough. There we go. All right, so here we go one last time. And then we'll work on turning the water nParticles into a mesh. There we go. Okay. That's a little better. Yeah, that works. Okay. Everything seems kind of slow. That's okay. All right, so that's good. We're filling the glass at least half or higher. Now we need to go to the nParticle. Now, I would save your work. So file, save scene as. And let's call this something different. Let's do 1A. And this will be 5 sim. All right. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna turn that, and I kind of want to save it at this point because this is really important that some of you have also had issues with this part. So I'm gonna go in here to modify, go down to convert. Where are we at here? nParticles to polygons. Okay. All right. So there. That's like it almost disappears. Okay. Now why is that? Well, let's go down here and find out what's happening here. So dynamic properties, we'll open that up. Liquid simulation, and then output mesh. There we go. Okay, so the first thing is viscosity. And in the video I had it at 0.15. So let's do that. And surface tension I had set up to 1. All right, so there we go. And that doesn't change anything here. That won't. And then the output, that's where we see some of the issues that we're having. So let's turn the threshold down. Okay, it was up too high. And that's just about right. We want it so when we zoom in, it's kind of following the sides of the walls as best it can. Okay, it's a pretty thick object right now, so I'm not too worried about it. If you go a little bit higher, the resolution will have to be higher because it's starting to come out of into that. So that's where the max triangle resolution comes in. Okay, and how many particles you had before. I have very few particles. It's like 25, right? So the simulation is going to be a little blocky. Okay, now your computer is going to have a hard time with this, but let's go ahead and bring this up to 500. Okay, now if your computer can't handle 500, you'll have to bring that down. It really has a lot to do with threshold. Okay, all right, and how much you can put in there, right? So once I set that up, I have to kind of go up and down again to get this set up just the way I need it. And it can be kind of tough because right now it's a little bit too small. So I'm going to have to go a little bit lower. The lower you go, the bigger it gets, okay? So I'm going to keep going. Okay. That looks pretty good. And scale, can mess with that. And I think we're good. Triangle size. Okay. What happens here, this depends on how big your particles were. Okay. So if you go too high, it'll disappear. Okay. Because the threshold is too low for that. You can see how the threshold's working here. Okay. So let's go ahead and just kind of get this back to where we had it. And you're just gonna have to play with this a little bit. There's no right or wrong. We want to get as high as the triangle size as high as we can, and yet still have the milk look correct. Okay. So let's see here. Mesh iterations. Play with that a little bit. No, that doesn't do anything. Make it as flat as we can. Threshold again, get that the way you want it. And I think that's about all you can do. And the higher you go, okay, which will slow your computer down to where it will crash. I can go pretty high. I might be able to go higher, 600 maybe. Okay. You don't see a difference until you kind of mess with that a little bit. There we go. And another thing I like to do is kind of mess with some of these to see if that helps a little bit. The quad mesh looks terrible. So triangle mesh, let's just stick with that. All right, so let's see what we get here with our situation or simulation. So let's go ahead and play it. And you're keeping your fingers crossed, at this point that you got everything set up pretty close. And it's kind of blocky because I didn't use enough particles, okay? All right? But it works. It'll work, okay? It doesn't look great because I didn't use as many particles, okay? Now, let me go back, okay? Click off here. What happens, because I'm going to, if it works, so now you save it, right? And now you can play around a little bit more. So you saved it, it looks good. It looks good enough. Again, having more particles will make it look more like liquid. This is like really low poly, as you can see when you click on your poly surface. Okay. So setting this up, setting this up with a higher resolution will help, but it will slow your computer down. And the most I've ever done, and it actually worked, was 1200. But that's an RTX 1080 Ti or 2080 Ti. So you might crash with that, and just be prepared for it. Okay, now it's going to be slower, but it'll be more accurate. It's still kind of high resolution, blocky looking because I don't have enough particles. So, all right. Okay. All right, so that's basically it. And then the rest of it is just material. So you'll go in there and you'll texture this like what I showed you in the other video. Okay, so that's it. Hope you guys have a great day, and hopefully they answer most of your questions. And if you have more questions, just email me at jbyers3@jccc.edu. I'll see you guys later.